You speak to that?
Nobody signed up for it.
Okay, I'll say it again. Anybody here regarding zoning map amendment for the city of Cortland? Last call for regarding proposed zoning map amendment in the city of Cortland. With that, we'll close that public hearing. Second public hearing is regarding proposed amendments to the Article 11 of the code of the city of Cortland related to parking. Second call, anybody regarding proposed amendments to Article 11 of the code, city of Cortland related to parking?
We got somebody up first.
Okay, there we go. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to speak once again. For those who don't know me, my name is Holly Pizzagatti, and I spoke at the last city council meeting on behalf of SUNY Cortland Student Government Association as the vice president. In my last statement, our student government felt the need to stress the importance on the timing of the proposal. How important we felt it was to hold off voting on the proposed possibility for paid parking until students and faculty were back in Portland for the start of the semester. We do understand that by adding paid parking, it would financially aid the city of Portland greatly. From this, it seems as though the council has wanted to move forward with voting on the proposal over the summer. We felt that if it could not wait, students still deserved a voice if the voting was going to take place in their absence. Therefore, the student government took it upon themselves to create a survey to be sent out to students about the parking proposal. Within just the first day of it being sent out, we received over 100 responses. In the end, we received about 300 responses from students, all who are focused on their summer breaks and are not typically checking their emails. The response number alone shows how much students do care to share their input on important decisions that not only affect the residents of Portland, but also themselves who attend the college and see Cortland as their second home. We asked students many different questions. Some of these questions included things like where students typically park and how often, how much weekly stress parking may cause them, if metered parking would increase financial stress and ability to attend classes, and overall if they supported the proposal. Over 90% of students opposed the proposal. Roughly 90% feel it would hinder their abilities to attend classes, and about 95% of students agreed it would only cause additional financial stress. One student stated, "I avoid parking in the paid lot on campus because I can't afford it. If paid parking on streets became a thing, there is no way I would be able to afford living in Cortland while attending school." Another student felt, "Implementing metered parking is creating a lack of accessibility for the normal student and person." These are just two personal comments of over 75 personal experiences and opinions that we received. We want to once again emphasize the importance of waiting for students and faculty to return to themselves or to campus to be able to personally share these opinions in person and get the chance to speak for themselves. We understand that it would be easier to implement such a proposal before the semester starts. We also feel that if we were to wait on the vote of the proposal till students return, if it were to pass, it could be implemented over a break or the end of the first semester. Like we previously have mentioned, the Student Government Association is committed to working collaboratively with the city and Portland community members to develop effective solutions to address the issues at hand, while also reflecting the needs of all parties are affected. Thank you for your time and consideration on behalf of the Cortland Student Government Executive Board.
Anybody else here to speak to public hearing number 2 regarding the proposed amendments to Article 11 of the code related to parking? Just want to clarify that this is not implementing paid parking. This is implementing the law that we can change the different other items in the parking. Okay, with that, we'll leave that one open. That's coming to the next meeting. Call to order, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Present.
Councilmember Silliman,
Present.
Councilmember Pinello,
Here.
Councilmember Lane,
Here.
Councilmember Conlon,
Here.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Here.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Present.
Councilmember Michaels is noted as absent.
Okay, you can all rise if you can. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chief Friedman. Where you hide? You come up to the front, please.
Not asking for another truck, I hope.
Right?
Also go big before you get out.
We want to present you, this is your last council meeting. I'm sure you count down the days. Yeah, we have a nice formal plan for the 31st, everybody at 3 o'clock, so make sure everybody's there. The Assemblymember Kellis is going to be there, and certainly the Senator Webb will be there as well, so it's big fans of yours. They wouldn't come to mind, but they go to yours. So, we respect a lot of people, you can tell by the people in the room, we appreciate everything you've done, so we have a little proclamation we'd like to share with you and give to you. That's all you get is a watch, right? So that's good. In recognition of the exemplary career and steadfast service of Fire Chief Wayne Friedman on the occasion of his retirement. Whereas Fire Chief Wayne Friedman has devoted nearly 40 years to the fire service, beginning with the Carter Volunteer Fire Department in 1987 and serving the Cortlandville, Tully, and the City of Cortland Fire Department. And whereas he has joined the City of Cortland Fire Department in 2002, was promoted to Assistant Chief in 2010, and appointed a Fire Chief in 2019, demonstrating exceptional leadership, professionalism, dedication throughout his career. And whereas Fire Chief, as Fire Chief, he has led the department through the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, strengthening emergency response capabilities, securing grant funding, modernizing equipment, and fostered the development of future fire service leaders. And whereas his outstanding contributions have been recognized across New York State through his executive fire officer designation, service of the Board of Directors of New York State Fire Chiefs Association, and selected as the 2026 New York State Career Fire Chief of the Year. And whereas Chief Friedman has served the City of Cortland not only as an exemplary administrator and protector, but as a trusted friend, mentor, and leader who has approached every duty with his humility, integrity, and deep love for his community, leaving a long-lasting legacy through the firefighters he mentored and the citizens he faithfully served. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, the mayor of the City of Cortland, together with the Common Council, extend our deepest gratitude to Chief Wayne Friedman for his lifetime of distinguished public service, and wish him and his family continued health, happiness, and fulfillment in his well-earned retirement. Be it for the resolve that the residents of the City of Cortland are encouraged to join us in honoring Chief Freeman his walkout on that July 31st, as we celebrate his remarkable career and steward legacy.
Oh, I know. I know. And there we go. Thank you. I truly appreciate this, the things that you said here, the things that people said to me, I mean, I never expected that this would be happening. I just told Kim this weekend that it's starting to become surreal. It's here. So there's many emotions that are going through me right now. But I want to thank the council. I want to thank the previous councils. I think the fire department in my tenure has grown a lot. We've faced a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of bumps and bruises, but great things have happened. And you know, I'm proud of that. I'm very proud of this organization and where it's come from, where it is today, and what more importantly, what it'll be in the future. There's great people here, and the department's set up to be great in the future. So the best thing I can do is get out of the way, because there's great people that are gonna keep this going. We don't know what it looks like. I like to think I could predict it, but I can't. Things change so fast, and we're doing the best we can, I'm very proud of the organization as a whole. I thank the council for all the communications. I know the phone calls or a text in the middle of the night, hey, call me in the morning, just because I think communication was so key for all of us. And when you had a question to call, and I think that is, that's a big part of this. Relationships are huge, and I think, things been very good with that. So again, I thank you, Mayor. I thank this council. I thank everybody with the fire department and all my other folks that are here. Yeah, it's here, and I'm not sure how to handle it quite yet, so. But again, thank you for everything, and it's been a great run.
So chief, if
Yes.
you're gonna give your command 3 solid statements further on, or as they go forward. Yeah. Think about it.
I'll get back to you.
I personally can't think of mineral wound. Not a long time. He's been exceptional to the city. As a friend, family member, probably all of you guys, I mean, he's just. We are heart replacement.
And Kimmy too. All right, moving on to the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You're welcome to leave.
You don't wanna stay.
All right, public comments, Mr. Broyle.
Good evening, Mayor Steve and council members. I'm Steve Broyles. I live in Ward 3 on 6th Avenue. And I attended with my friend and colleague Kevin Hess of 16 Westfield Drive in Ward 1. And together, the two of us are USA Pickleball ambassadors for Cortland County. We're here to address some concerns about the pickleball courts at Brandon Park. These courts are a wonderful asset and resource for the city and for the county. Pickleball is a sport with many health benefits. It's inexpensive, it's easy to play, and it's as an integrative social activity. We're concerned that the courts at Randall have not received final asphalt sealant and sports coat, as well as repositioning of the embedded post. Our first concern is that without an asphalt sealant and the sports coat, the longevity of the courts will be diminished. Following rainfall, water permeates the asphalt quickly. This erodes the underlying base, contributes to cracking during freeze-thaw cycles, and it removes the glue-like matrix holding the asphalt aggregates together. Second, playing on asphalt courts punishes the human body. Asphalt is solid material with little flexibility. Knees and hips absorb the shock of athletic movements on the court. And some folks now avoid the random course because of joint pain resulting from playing on a hard but flexible surface. Third, the courts are too close together, and when many courts are in use, players and balls frequently move between courts. This is not only a safety issue, but it's also an issue when it comes to sponsoring or hosting sanctioned tournaments. And sanctioned pickleball tournaments at Randall could be an economic boost for the community by providing funding for the Youth Bureau, as well as supporting local businesses. We urge the Common Council and the mayor to fund the completion of the pickleball courts. We hope that you will protect the longevity of this wonderful resource. And finally, we'd like some clarity on the funding. A recent article in the Cortland Standard interviewed a city official who suggested that occupancy tax shortfalls were the reason the courts had not been completed. In contrast, a 2024 Cortland Voice report recognized that funding was appropriated through the American Rescue Plan Act. So thank you for providing better transparency on this issue. Kevin and I would like to share with you signed petitions from pickleballers, and as well as a copy of the letter that I have drafted for this. Okay, so thank you for listening and for taking our concerns seriously.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Nice t-shirt.
Oh, thanks. Getting through these first, talk. Ms. Vasta, do you want to say anything? You're good? No, I'm good. Okay. Chief Nichols.
Good evening, Jim Nichols. I live on Ridgeview Ave in Cortlandville, which is an extension of Ridgeview Ave in the city of Portland. I've spoken before. I also attended the DPW commission. And what we're asking is that our street be recognized as a city street with appropriate signage regarding speed, parking, and heavy vehicles using Ridgeview Avenue for commercial purposes. In the city, there's a limit on weight. City streets of no more than 5 tons. We believe there are vehicles using this avenue that exceed 5 tons. And we'd like to stop to that. So again, we're asking that the council and the DPW consider appropriate signage for the street. If you take a minute and you look at Madison, Groton Avenue, and the other streets, they're all properly posted regarding traffic patterns in the city of Portland. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else for public comments? Hearing none, we'll close the public comments section. Just want to respond to the question that was asked on the funding. The original pickleball courts were designed that way with communication with the local pickleball players at the time. And it was funded by the American Act to put the pickleball courts in. It was never planned on coding it at any time. That it came up after the fact. So in the budget presentation to council this year, it's presented by the youth bureau director and then the finance director to fund the coding, because it was brought up that was wanted out of the occupancy tax. The occupancy tax got to a slow start because it was only at 1% and went to 3% after the first quarter. So we're still, there is RFPs out for the coding now. We don't know where that's gonna come and if there's enough money to be paid for that. So, but, and then these, there's 2 projects that were planned on being paid out of that. Was the basketball courts and, help me out, Andrea? Beaudry, sorry. And Beaudry and that, so then it's up to you, based on the funding, then the youth bureau commission will determine which one will happen if it's short. So that's where that comment came from, and that's what's stated.
Could I just add to that? I know there was some conversation going around. I did find some information out. The original contract or the grant money for that pickleball court was completely used up, so there was no extra money to seal it. And I also know that I don't know about the product to seal it. There's not very many companies around to do it. So it's hard to find somebody. So probably the answer to the RFP is probably gonna get one, and that's what we're gonna get stuck with, because I guess it's a special product, not something, I don't even think Suco does it.
There's companies out of Syracuse that do.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like,
tennis court.
yeah, it's
Surface.
a whole different product, but we are certainly, I believe, or I swear on it, I guess I should say that. Hopefully we can come up with the money to get it done this year, but we don't wanna lose it either, for sure, but, yeah.
But so if there is a desire for that, spread the courts out and restructure it somehow, that should be determined before.
Right, yeah. We
We'll
don't
have to
do it
get
in
that
that
round,
big
that's the
resolution.
first I'm hearing of that. No, certainly, but we're trying to do it recreationally for everybody to be able to use, and I see, over there, last year, there was courts all full. So it's always good to see that, so if there's a way to make it adjustable, I will.
Guess we better have that match.
We'll be-
You guys should never get that.
We'll be in touch. Right. Okay, thank you for that. All right, so we'll move from that to the finance report. Mr. Shaker.
Okay, start off with the 24 audit. That's, as everybody knows, that's completed. We still have a single audit that we're still working through with the auditors, and hopefully that gets done within the next month. But the main audit part that we needed to get done was done, and hopefully we can close that out. 25, we're working on the AFR. Many of the same issues that we incurred in 24, although probably not as bad. There's still all the issues of getting everything reconciled, and when I say reconciled, we're talking about cash, receivables, payables, due to, due from, things of that nature. And until we get caught up, we're still gonna have those headaches. Okay, once we get caught up, hopefully we stay on it month to month and can go forward, but until then, that's a problem that the city has. Later on in this meeting, I know there's a resolution to bring in an accounting firm to assist us in getting there. There's a document that is attached to some of the things I gave you before the meeting. I believe they will help us get from A to B. Okay, and I think it would be well spent money for the city. The 26 budget, as I said, since I've been here, the original budget looked like we were gonna have $1 million deficit, due to different revenues being overstated. In the new state budget, we have 500,000 roughly coming in additional state aid that we didn't budget for. If we go ahead with the tax collection change next year, which occurs at the end of this year, which the county's here to talk a little bit about that later. Between those two items, I think that will assist us in making 26 a positive fund balance for the month, for the year. Those two items alone should help us, instead of having a deficit, help us get to a positive situation. I think both of those will be both beneficial to the city moving forward. You gotta remember, when we do the tax collection, we're making the school whole every year, we're making the county whole. And then our cash situation, we just don't have the funds to do that today. So this will be a big help from that standpoint, is also helping us recognize all of our tax revenue in a given year. So in the future years, say in 27, if we go out $12 million in taxes, we will have that 12 million by the end of, I think it's August. In the future, it'll be by the end of May. Okay, in the past, we've had to wait a year and a half later to get all that money back. Okay, as well as making other people whole in between, so.
If we even got it all, because some people didn't even pay it.
Yes.
Right.
In the package, that Andy sent out to you, was all the different, budget versus actuals for June from 25 versus 26. There were a couple line items that were either over budget or gonna be over budget, but I think there's 3 resolutions or 2 resolutions in there, to clean those up. Other financials, the WIFIA loan, as I said before, has been closed out. We've paid off the band that we were borrowing the money against. There is a headache that goes along with that due to the closing, the timeliness of that. We're gonna have to make an interest payment on the WIFIA loan that was not budgeted. In December, I think it's December 1st, and that's roughly like $73,000. That'll come out of the water and sewer fund. It won't come out of the general fund. Someone in my office will come down with a resolution later, how to pay for that. Health insurance. I dropped you off a document here. The first page is basically what we get from the consortium. And year to date, we've spent out of our HRA account roughly $665,000. Our budget amount is $1,150,000. So we're at about 57%. That's not a bad situation, okay? Hopefully, as we go further down the line, less and less HRA money gets spent. So far, inactive employees, we have one individual that has hit his maximum in-network deduction. 3 families, and in the retirees, we have one family that has hit their out-of-pocket in-network deduction. I also sent out another sheet, something that I created. This is not a report that I came up with, it's a report that Excel has given me in other locations that I worked, and they call it a triangle report. And basically, it shows how money is being spent in the health insurance field. On the page I sent out to you here, if you go to the first page, or after the second page, this is basically the active medical payments made on HRA. So basically, if we have an active employee who went to a doctor or a hospital, this is the claims that we paid on our HRA. So if you look at it vertically in the month of April, we paid a total of $70,427. $29,563 of that was related to visits that occurred in April. $37,055 from March, $3,136 from February, and $673 from January. So basically, you can see how it takes a few months to roll out. If you look at it horizontally in April, go far to the right, there's $52,210. That is the amount of money spent on the HRA that's related to someone going to the doctor's office in April. And 29,000 of it was paid out in April. 20,865 was paid out in May, and $1,782 was paid out in June. What that's basically telling you is that on our medical claims, after 2 months, we have about 95% of our claims in here on average. Okay, so when you're looking at this report, it's not all there. Like when you look at the total 383,000, that's not really that's a total as of June, but you should probably add about $50,000 to $60,000 on top of that to say this is what it's going to be through June as a whole. Okay. I'm supplying this report to Scott and some other people down in the office, so that as they leave, they can keep this, and as it spills out over the time period, it'll become a lot clearer to everybody of what's going on in the medical scenario. That was on our HRA. The next page, and I think this is important, but not important, because we're not just based off of the city's claims. Being in a consortium, we're related to everybody's claims, okay? But if you look at this report here, in the month of, this is medical claims for retirees. So this is retirees that the consortium paid the claims for. They had already paid whatever HRA we had to do. This is what they had to pay to the doctors or hospitals. So if you look at April, they paid out $89,868. Only 2,769 of it was in April. March was 63,132. They paid back 115 in February, and they also paid an additional $24,082. So when you're looking at an HRA and you see our payouts going in like a 2-month period, the claims is a longer period of time, 4 or 5 months. So if you look going horizontal in March, they paid out $2,700 in March, $63,000 in April, $96,000 in May. That's related to April claims or to March claims, and then only $38 in June. So in the month of March, there was $162,000 that they paid in claims. So the run out is probably a month or 2 longer for claims than it is for HRAs. When you look at, I didn't make a copy of this, it's in the report that I sent you. If you look at just the pharmaceutical charges, basically after 2 months, we got about 100% of all the pharmaceutical bills in through our HRA. I won't go into the last page, but this is Both the HRA and claims as a whole. For the first 6 months, it's basically $1.5 million. If you correlate that out for the whole year, it's about 3 million. We budgeted 4.6 million. Okay, that doesn't mean we're gonna be under budget because we're paying premiums, but hopefully the HRA numbers stay low. The claims numbers continue to stay low, and our cost of paying premiums in the future don't go up. I will never say go down, but hopefully they don't go up. And lastly, with this being my last meeting here, I want to thank everybody for their help and support, and I tried to be helpful as much as I could here to help put the city of Portland back into going in the right direction. I could tell you, in dealing in the 27 budget, I think there's gonna have to be a lot of hard decisions that everyone in this table is gonna have to make this a good budget, something that the taxpayers can afford. And I think everything, I've been going through it with the mayor, everything has to be looked at and is on the table. I will tell you that when you're sitting here come October, it's not always gonna be fun and pretty, but I think everyone's gonna have to make some hard decisions, and starting with the mayor. And he's already going through it, but it's gonna need the support of everybody to get the budget back in the situation that it needs to be going forward. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not gonna be easy decisions.
Thank you, Chuck. You've been a great asset.
Yeah.
Bonds and bands, the knowledge that we learned from that. And Randall too, you've educated us a lot on that. Certainly, you're a breath of fresh air, and so we're gonna miss you, I'm sure. I hate to see that.
Thank you very much. Well, yeah.
Because I wanted.
Definitely.
I thank y'all. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
So you're talking about bans and the bonds, and, we talked last week at the finance committee meeting, not to put you on the spot, but. The WIFIA loan, you say it was not budgeted, but there was. A fair amount in terms of what we were carrying over for the bans and for the bonds previously. So if everything was budgeted for in terms of 26. And now that money was shifted from a ban to the WIFIA loan. Was that money not initially, was that ban initially not budgeted for?
No, I think what would happen here is that in the 26 budget, the band money for payment was budgeted. And I think in the whole line, we may have been over what was budgeted by X amount of dollars. I can't remember what it was, maybe 52,000 or so. We already did a budget amendment on that. But even if that had been closed in April, you still would have had to make a bond payment 6 months later. That was never budgeted. So it didn't matter whether it happened in April or June, you're gonna have to make that 6-month payment later. So this 72,000 was just missed when that budget was put together. I understand how it was missed, because I don't think the thought process was there going through this whole thing. But I understand why it was missed, but it had nothing to do with whether we closed this ban in April. If we closed it in April, we'd have to make the payment in October, because we closed on it in June, you have to make the payment in December. Because on all bonds, you have to make 2 payments a year, an interest payment and then an interest and principal payment.
So the payment. For the ban that was initial, what you're saying is that payment wasn't expected until 27, but because it was converted to the WIFIA loan, that payment becomes due this fall.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct. And I think when Beth was doing the thing, she was just thinking about the ban and not necessarily thinking about it being the bond in April, and just missed it. And I can understand that. I think it was a legitimate mistake that someone could make.
Okay, but for the public. We're going to pay or more earlier, well, we're gonna pay earlier. But the overall sum is not necessarily more, because what was owed on the ban was a higher percentage rate than the WIFIA loan, correct?
That's correct.
So we're gonna be paying some. This fall, that otherwise there would have been a larger number next May.
No, if we closed this earlier, I think that's what you're trying to get. If we had closed this in April, we would have still had to make that $72,000 payment in October. Not December. It would have been 2 months earlier. That's the only difference. When she was doing the budget, she didn't have a bond or amortization schedule out there for 26 for the Wafia loan.
Anybody else done anything else? Any other questions?
Debt service numbers for next year, last week, if it was possible. To run something for us, so we have an idea, because what you just explained, we want to avoid that. And there's some concerns in terms of staffing and not having somebody in your position. As we're going through the budget process, what the predictors will be for things like that, healthcare, retirement costs.
I will try,
We've already gone
I
through.
have, I have a bond chart, but I can say it's just so long. But they gotta figure out how to get the print so you can make sense of it. Okay, I've looked at it and it's,
But all the payments are already funded for work on healthcare.
Yeah, because in the financials, there's some debt service that it looks like we're not caught up on in terms of payments for this year. And knowing what the payments are gonna be for next year is gonna be crucial.
Unless you're at least talking about, so.
In the finance report toward the end,
sort of, Scott would mention to you, posted in,
Which one,
about it being posted.
oh, yeah, I think some of that is not, but. We'll check.
It's one of the things of us having to get, if you read the auditor things of getting things. In the system real time. Okay, it's not being posted real time. Okay, and that's why it's not there.
so some of the debt service has been paid, but it's just not in the report that we
Yes.
received.
Yes. It has not been posted in the munis in real time. That's the problem.
Okay. And one more question, I'm not sure where it would go to, but the 24 audit. The city needs to formulate a response, correct? Has there been any motion on that yet?
Do we have to, until we responded to it? Then we respond to the
It was
question.
in the audit itself.
Yeah. So where they made a statement, we made a comment below it responding to the statement.
I'll go back and read, thank you. But that is the city's response,
Yes.
very good.
Anybody else? Okay, so, gotta get a motion to proceed, by the way, so move on his reports. Mr. Beckwith, Mr. Carpenter, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mayor, before, gotta do it quickly. So real quick, some good news, the first responders camps tomorrow, and Thursday, 11:30 is the landing of the helicopter. I know that's been an issue previously. People got all nervous about the helicopter coming in. They circle around a few times, so anticipate that tomorrow, 11:30, weather permitting. Tuesday, next Tuesday, at 10:30 is the last Arts and Parks books at Courthouse Park. And, let's see, summer trips are continuing on, and camp will resume next week. ATI has their ADA celebration Saturday at 10 a.m. So that's very educational to get there. The Cortland High School reunion is this weekend, starting Friday the 24th. They have a car show starting 1 to 3 and Main Street concert will also be that Friday night, and then they have Black Street party. So it's all the Cortland High reunions. They're trying to put all the years together to do it as one. So their RFPs are out for Yemen, for engineering, for Yemen. RFPs out for pickleball courts, we discussed that. We're reviewing the cost for the basketball courts, and Randall will probably go out to rebid. As well as we received the bids again for the demolition over here, and that received them, and they're much more reasonable, so we'll be reviewing them and getting them out. They came in yesterday.
Just clarify that, Scott, demolition for roundhouse.
Roundhouse, okay, yeah, sorry. Um. So I attended a Goodwill ribbon cutting, so we worked hard to get them here. I think it's a good asset to our community. It fits our needs and everybody's needs, so we're excited to have them here. Working with developers and possible users for Parker School. Department of Labor is doing a round table next week. The head of the Department of Labor is coming in to have the roundhouse table. We're hosting that at Parker School. And then as far as DPW, so in your packets, and certainly there's extra copies here for the media. If anybody wants to understand the process, so they're doing some asphalt processing, and I asked Suco to write this document up so that people get an understanding. So you can make people understand how that works, but these roads are doing what they call the cold process, what they're doing, and they're starting August 3rd, and they're gonna be milling those roads. Followed in 2 days, you'll see the process, you can follow through the process. Following after the millet, 2 days later, they can do the base coat, and you can see they come back in, and they touch the road actually 4 times by the time they're done. So then they'll come in to around the 17th and put that last coat. Next year, they'll come in and after everything settles and make sure everything looks good, they'll put the top coat on that. And those are the streets of Harris, Joy, Chestnut, Evergreen, Harmon Circle, Cherry, and Elizabeth. And Harris, Joy, Chestnut, Evergreen, Harmon Circle, Cherry, and Elizabeth.
We just said Coldwell.
Copeland, yeah. Okay. And then on August 13th, they'll start doing Pendleton, River, Central, and possibly Court Street. We gotta do some grade reconstructions on Court Street. That will be the hot asphalt. They'll be handled the typical way, but they'll mill it and turn around and pave it the next day. So they're gonna turn around and do that. River Street's a pretty big lift, so that might be a couple. And then in the fall, we'll address Homer and some of the other streets that we discussed earlier. So that'll be in the early September will be those items. Superintendents, again, awaiting applications for those, so we're looking at those. But between the flooding, the air quality and the storms, it's been continuous work to try to get these roads prepped, and we just never, it's unprecedented times as far as dealing with that. We had to shut down the park one day, the pool and outdoors activities, because it got past the level of our thresholds. I guess that's enough.
Just real quick, the Main Street thing with this weekend, is part of Main Street getting shut down?
Yes, from
Just
Chief,
so we
help me
know.
out, I gotta remember this one. Oh, you left. I think it's there's Central or Court Street to Tompkins, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I just put it out there so people know they'll be shutting that down for the car show.
So that, yeah, just from 1 to 3, and then I'll open it back up and then I'll close it again. That night, the band will be in the park, so it'll be open. But then they'll close it the next day for the block party. But that should be a great event, that's the first thing. What's that?
A lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this weekend, a lot of good things, I'm sure I missed some, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah, it's good, it's good stuff. Coming up on some other, our beach party, and so we're getting all that prepared, so all that's good stuff. All right, so, ward report, one.
Thank you. So I did have a message from a resident who's concerned because their escrow payments, well, it's good. See Legislator Bischoff here, there was questions in terms of the changes and knowing that payment gets moved up from February to January, and their concern is that they get their escrow analysis, all that done in December, and then whether or not that's gonna be a time crunch. So there are people paying attention and have some concerns. There was an email to everybody on council about the pesticide signs that were on Clinton Avenue, and sent an email. I'd love to have a follow-up in terms of, is that the city applying that, and if so, should we be doing that? Part of the grants that we received was, I believe, I can't remember the origin in terms of the grant. It might have been Fish and Wildlife, but there was money to help prevent runoff into the Tiafneoga, knowing that the Tiafneoga eventually connects down to Chesapeake Bay. So whether or not that should be done, I think is a valid question. There was a couple of concerns that came forward at last meeting, and the last one was about 27 budget planning. We didn't really get to it, but if we would like to discuss, I'm more than happy if this is the appropriate venue to continue conversation about what we talked in committee or council as a whole wants to pick up the conversation.
What we talked about in the finance committee.
Some of it will, the RF, not the RFP, the accounting and advisory services, I think we're gonna end up talking about some of where we're at in terms of the finance department, but next steps and where we're at and what's council's role.
You're the chair of the committee, correct? So I advise you, or I'm asking you that. Bring something positive to us. What's your recommendation? We never get any recommendation. All you bring is the negativity. They're trying to throw people under the bus. You know, Clinton Street, that was under your watch. Them flower gardens were a freaking disgrace. It should have never happened. I mean, I'm not, I just. We've been dealing with it. They're full of weeds. People aren't going to take care of them. They can't take care of them. Back to the finance. Just be positive, bring stuff to us. I'm not on the committee and I don't want to be because I'm not a Chuck expert. I think he's done good getting me the stuff he needs, but. We just need to move forward and figure out a solution. That's that's all I got to say.
And I have to back you up. I agree, because it's just constant negativity and no solutions are offered, nothing. So it's, in a way, it's a waste of time and,
Hopefully this is their solution.
well, yeah,
Before, sum it up.
right,
That no,
but it's not coming out of the audit committees.
We can talk about
yeah.
But as far as. That's not factual, that it was done to keep things from running tight. And again, every one of those outfalls have drains going right to the storm drain that goes through there. So they all have outfalls. There are retentions to slow it down, slow down the waterfalls and hopefully not get as much down there, and hopefully.
That was the purpose of the original plan.
But it does go to the river, so that's not factual.
But I think the point was, should we be spraying poison on it because it goes down to the
So
river?
that's, it's not, I wouldn't qualify it as poison.
Yeah, you can't use poison.
But it's treated by an expert, and this is done by what was recommended by the EPA had come in, when they had given the grant, we had issues. So the original design
Didn't
was
work.
flawed, right? We talked about this last year, was flawed and it floated and plugged the drains and created an issue. So then they said, okay, put rocks in it. So weed mat was put down, rocks put down. Well, then inevitably the silt gets between the rocks and then the weeds start growing. So then they're like, prepare an applicator to address those weeds, because if it don't, it's gonna ruin what that's designed for. And it's gonna kill off the plants that are designed to be in there. Now, again, just by the general part of that neighborhood, there are some people that take care of them and they look great. But there's some people that
Yeah,
don't
there are.
take care of them, and they won't take care of them, and we can't force them to take them. So the recommendation was to address that, but according to our grant documents, we cannot change that, we have to maintain that. And this is a allowable recommended course of action.
Okay, so the city is doing it. The
Well, we're-
city's applying this,
We're contract, somebody is
Contracted it out.
somebody is doing it.
but the
Somebody-
city's responsible for it. The city's been.
It's a right, yes.
Okay, and the product that's being used was approved by
It's an approved,
EPA.
the EPA.
yeah, one of the agency of issues.
Okay, I think
And the
that's,
unfortunate thing is they had to put down silk screen, and that catches everything and everything grows on top of it. It's not coming from below it, it's just everything that's running in, it turns in the weeds.
And the labor to pull.
I mean, all the original plannings are gone.
We got some good volunteers doing Main
Looked good the
Street.
first year, but it's just, it's a great concept, it just doesn't work.
All right, Ward 2.
To circle back quickly on the finance committee, we have not been, I guess I'm curious for the members of the council who are not on it. What would be helpful in terms of updates on what we discussed in meetings? I don't think we've had a good discussion in terms of how we can communicate and what would be beneficial there. So what would
Good
be,
suggestions. Where we should go, maybe not so much negativity. We live in a negativity world, I'm not a negative person most of the time. It's just solutions.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not,
Where I'm
it's
at-
tough, I'm telling you, I don't want, I'm glad I'm not on it, but.
where I'm
I
at,
know.
right, where I'm at on it is,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be, originally there was some grant or talking about budget stuff and looking at budget stuff, say, great, that'd be helpful. Help budget for 2027. That was not finished and dropped off. Then some other issues we talked about, it just seems like we talk about issues and then. We're trying to come with solutions, like we talked about BST, if you have a better solution, give me a better solution, if you have a better thing, but we're working every day to try to come up with. Reasonable healthcare costs, reduce the cost of all that, retirement. Employees of levels of employment, and we're doing the budget stuff, we're working hard every day to try to do it. Some help would be great, I'm not gonna spend more of my personal time spending that, working 12-hour days. To try and make all this work out. With good team, with people that are there and not having the level of understanding by the finance committee as of July to understand even what our staffing levels are, to make assumptions about our staffing's accountability or their actions or their competency is difficult based on hearing it from past employees maybe, or intervening with other employees that are being interviewed. I really have concerns about where it's going and what it's going for, so in the best interest of the community, we should always be working for that. Like, this board is charged with, as council members, you're all charged with having the responsibility to make sure it's done. We all went through the budget hearings together. We all need to work out the solutions together. We're all gonna sit down with the 2027 budget together and hopefully in good debate and discussion to make it all work. We can't keep, I can't keep expending time and energy on items and then nothing's happening and nothing's moving forward when I'm trying to move things forward on a daily basis. So again, having solutions is what we're looking for, not to accentuate what we already know was an issue.
As somebody on that. Personally, I don't feel that it's all about negativity. At all. I think that you are at the top of the pyramid, Mayor. You have this big picture. I don't have it. In that committee, that's when you share it. We ask questions. We ask for clarification. I think that that's an important thing to do. To try and get a handle on the vision that you and Chuck together have come up with. And, I support getting this group in. There's some anxiety about not having, about the burden of all of this being back on you, like it was for the
Nobody has
first
that worse than I do.
year and a half, okay, so, but in the committee, we understood that there's been great effort to get another finance officer. You can understand why people may be reluctant to step up for such a short period, especially when they know that we've had a lot of issues and difficulties getting our budgets accomplished. Chuck's accomplished a great deal. But as we have these discussions, which can be very uncomfortable because it's hard to look at our collective shortcomings. As we have these conversations, we see that, we hear that maybe they need more help in the finance department. Maybe it's a personnel thing where we need more people, or maybe it's about systems and what systems are in place and who's using which systems. And it sounds like the mayor's drilling down on those aspects. You have a lot on your plate. You're a member of different boards. You run the city. You're way more than a part-time mayor. I, for one, have concern that, I think you're way past. I don't see how you haven't burnt out yet. It's a lot, but if we don't have somebody to step into Chuck's position, we don't. It's just, we don't have somebody right now. And so,
I think this accounting firm that we're gonna discuss is our best solution for now.
And I think we'll have them draft reports back, what the findings are and share with everybody, so nobody feels like they're in the dark. I think that's an important part to the people before that aren't, the ones are getting a view of it, they're only seeing one side, it's just what it is, but
Yeah,
it's good to share that with everybody, maybe that would be helpful. So we'll move towards that directive if that passes.
I do think it's also important on the point of communicating. There's been multiple occasions where members who are not on the finance committee have mentioned at council meetings things, cuts to the budget that the finance committee was not aware of until that council meeting. So unless the finance committee is communicated with, you don't have a full picture to make these decisions. And so I think communication between the finance committee and the rest of council could improve, but I do think the finance committee is not being communicated with effectively by the mayor's team, and I am frustrated by the fact that some of these things are being revealed in open council meetings, like the pickleball court cuts. And being blamed on the finance committee when those conversations did not happen. It was not something the finance committee pushed for. So there's a communication issue beyond just the finance committee.
We're gonna talk about that, so we're gonna clear it out to some of these non-factual statements. Number one, nobody from my office or anybody from finance told anybody that pickleball was cut. Nobody said that. No, we never once, never stated that. Nobody has had any other conversations. Yeah, I think it was a misunderstanding of where that was, as well as everybody else figured that was cut, but it was always funded for that, and you were at the budget meeting when it was talked about where it was funded from. But we're not, as we talked about all along, where if there's money not there, we can't go to a project without the money being there. And we're going, and if we have to move the money from somewhere else to make that happen. And based on the importance and relevance of everything else we have going, no offense to the pickleballers, that's not gonna be necessarily the top priority, but again, it wasn't cut. Nobody said that. That was a miscommunication. We never even talked about the pickleball courts at all in any of the finance meetings,
right.
to my knowledge. So I don't even know why that happened, but I can't speak to that. And I don't wanna beat anybody for that. There was a misunderstanding. I don't know where they got it. I don't know where Mr. Broyles got some of the information that some people were not clear on what it is. Certainly, we put all those in to make it for a good reason. I'm driving it too deep. But the point is, I can't stop. I've decided that if somebody makes a misstatement, I'm not gonna let these half-truths go out there, because sometimes they get out there and they're not, and we just let it go, and we ignore it, and it becomes a big incident, and bigger than what it should be. So we're gonna address these things as they come up, but that is not true, that's not, you can't globalize that as saying that that's a miscommunication, there's no communication as overall to everybody else. There's been cuts that nobody knows about. I think everybody's in the tune of everything that's going on. We're talking about it publicly as much as we can, probably more than we should. And because it's deterring people from anybody who's watching, say, whether these guys about, it's deterring them from probably coming here, but I'm not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to fix a problem. We're just trying to fix problems and work at it. Chuck's here. He knows the competency of the staff down there. He can speak to whether or not he doesn't feel that they can go on day to day and things are gonna fall apart or things will move forward. If that's a question that's relevant, but otherwise, I think it's difficult for people to make those decisions based on one off comment or those kind of situations.
I agree about the negativity. That's what we get, is the negativity. Is this the solution that your committee came up with? Cause if it is, that's great.
We discussed it in our committee, and we can discuss it as an agenda item when we get to it.
Okay, but
Yeah,
it didn't come from your committee. So this wasn't a
it was
solution.
presented during the committee to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we wanted to bring it to you because as a committee, I think I can speak for our committee, that we don't want to make unilateral decisions that seem like they should be all of council's decisions.
That's a suggestion,
Correct.
a positive suggestion.
Right.
So I said, one of my things since I've been in, not the newest guy here, but The reality is that now we gotta resource stuff out. Yeah, not gonna be in the longer, I don't think it's gonna cost us more in the long run, and we assume no responsibilities. If this company, not them throwing under the bus, but if they defunct on getting the RFPs in or getting the budget done, guess what? We can hold them liable. We can't hold Chuck liable. He's an employee. Stuff like that. So sometimes resourcing this stuff out, we're probably better off.
Is BST liable for failure to meet city obligations? BST is liable for breach of their contract, where they agreed to do by contract for us. I mean, and like any other professional firm, whether you're an accountant or an attorney, if you practice incorrectly, you could be subject to a malpractice lawsuit as well. So, I mean, I have no idea what the contract is gonna actually
Again,
call them to do.
I'd like to drive this conversation.
That's fine.
Yes,
Yeah, we're-
If there's anything else we have to do that,
One last thing there.
it's your ward report.
Okay, I think it would
We
help.
got the word to yet.
I think it would help greatly if each of us checked our assumptions before we aired them in public. And if you have any kind of grievance or any kind of question, go directly to the person. That's what we need to
It
do.
would be great to do that, for questions on the
Yeah.
agenda items, to questions that are done, that'd be great to have people reach out, within the days before instead of.
Oh, you said that, since you've been on this.
If you need education, glad to give it.
To wrap up my word report, I have to respond because I did send an email asking about what happened on Clinton. And similar to past emails about a variety of topics, there was no response. And Troy, if you think back, I submitted a document that was like 3 pages of suggestions. And if you want to call negativity or positivity, you have to look at the cold facts, and we could talk about it, but the numbers are the numbers. And over the last 3 years, we have overspent by over $1 million each year.
Don't get me going, Brian, because Clinton Street was way over, Main Street was way over.
Show me the numbers, because we approved, voted against, but 7.8 million earlier this year to keep the city financially sound. And that was not broken out, what that money was
That had
for,
nothing to do with the work.
what the projects were.
That's nothing to do
Show
with your
the
work.
numbers,
So you just want to.
because our
over the last
bands,
3
our
years.
bonds have gone from 17 million to 54 million. And our credit rating has dropped.
And it all started in your regime, Brian.
You're the one who approved those
Are you
bonds.
okay?
You're the one who approved all those bonds.
All of them?
2, 3. Did you run,
Let's just
did you
talk
run
about-
to just keep talking about these things and just keep doing this, or did you run to help the constituents and do something? Just tell me
I'm
one
here
thing
to
you've
help.
done since
I'm here to
January.
help.
You haven't helped the damn thing since you've been on this board again.
It's been since July. It's been since July. What are you doing? What are
We've
we
been
gonna
here
do?
6 months, but we've not made changes the way we need to make changes.
I'd say we have. Just keep
We're
up.
going back to where you started. You spent 16 months in charge without a finance director. And now we're looking at going back to not having a. finance
Mr. Mayor,
director.
point of order. Mr. Tobin is engaging in debate during his ward report, not delivering a ward report.
Thank
At this point, he needs to deliver a ward report, not direct comments to individual council members, and other council members should not respond to Mr. Tobin's ward report. It's a ward report, that's all it is. It's not a chance to engage in debate with individual council members, nor for other council members to respond to what he says.
Carry that on in the next meeting as well.
Okay.
Or 2.
All right. Second word. DPW came through and picked up the brush from the big storm. It took a while. People were patient, but they were so appreciative. So thank you so much to the DPW. And Codes took care of some brush that was overgrowing the sidewalk where people couldn't walk on the sidewalk. They had to crouch down. And so thank you, Codes, for taking care of that. I have not done a great job of communicating. I've not done a good job at all communicating with my ward about the zoning changes that are proposed and the parking changes that are proposed. And so I would like to have a ward meeting July 30th at 6 o'clock at Parker School. I have not checked to make sure Parker's available, but I will.
That time of day again, I'm sorry.
6
What,
on the 30th.
July 30th, 6
It's a Thursday.
We'll make sure that's available. Andrew?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, okay. And Mayor, I'd love for you to be there so we can explain some of these changes. And the justification for the zoning. I have one person who's wondering, why do we need first floor habitation on Main Street? And I was wondering if that was passed by the Historical Society. And that's it from the second ward, on to the third.
Third ward, everything's good.
4.
Okay, 4. I received an email concerning the same thing I say every meeting, speeding on Tompkins Street. This constituent, suggested, he said, having the, police car in the cemetery, by the time cars get to the cemetery, they've slowed down. By the time, when they're leaving town, by the time they get to the cemetery, they've slowed down. Once they get to Speedway, either way, either direction, that's when the speeding takes place. And it is, it's the trucks, it's the big trucks, it's the cars. It's, and they're going 45 miles an hour. Past
Where it's
past
30.
his house, where it's 30. So I don't know if sitting up by the Red Dragon would help, or even in Barry, because sometimes they're in Barry or Joseph, or, you know, one of those streets up closer to where the speeding is taking place. Also Speedway, the manager of Speedway pointed out to me the other day, that the flag that was across the street from Speedway, the flagpole was bent and bending, and he said every time he looks at it, it seems to have bent more, and he just didn't want it to fall down because the flag is not supposed to touch the ground. So I called DPW when I got out in the parking lot, I got in the car, and the next time I spoke to the manager, he said, I think DPW took care of that before you got out of the parking lot. So
Nice.
he was very happy that, and so thank you, DPW, for taking care of that. And that's it from the board.
So I will be having my next ward meeting Monday, July 27th at 6 p.m. in Beaudry. So looking forward to that. I had flyers printed off today, so I'll be doing the rounds in the ward. Looking forward to more good conversation with neighbors there, and that does it for the 5th.
All quiet, the 6th ward.
Well said. Thank you. All right, accept the minutes. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes? Carpenter. Ms. Lang. All those in favor? Presentation, sorry about the wait. Andrea. Bishop and Andrea from the county.
Yes, hi, good evening. I'm Kathy Bishop. And I am currently a Colton County legislator elected from District 3. I am also the chair of Finance and Administration for the Colton County Legislature. I'm joined this evening by my colleague, Sandy Herzog, who is the Director of Finance. Our chair, Kevin Fitch, and our county administrator, Michael Poncello, send their regards. Unfortunately, they couldn't join us this evening. I'm here to give a little bit more explanation to the very fine presentation that you had last council meeting on the proposal before you for the county to collect city taxes along with the county taxes going forward. And I'd just like to give you a little background. You may not be aware, may be aware, that for the past several years, the county and the city have talked about the city tax collection. And for some time, the county would like to realign the entire county on the same schedule as with the rest of the county. So the rest of the county outside of the city actually collect their taxes January through April, kind of May, they get some extensions. Okay, and we really, for efficiency and consolidation and in general, financial management, we really wanted to have those schedules be combined. And so we decided this year that we were going to start collecting our own taxes in the city, so we could do that eventually. And had a conversation with the city, with the mayor and his staff to see if there was something we could do to do this in a cooperative and collaborative fashion. They're very open to suggestions, and we were very open to suggestions as to how to approach it. So, one of the thoughts we had obviously was that currently, right now, you collect both the city and the county, taxes. Basically, this is reverse it, and the county would collect the county and city taxes. We would have a transitional year, which would be for 27. We would begin to collect the taxes on the same schedule we do now, from February to August, all right? The following year, we would begin to collect the taxes January through to April and May. We would also make you whole when the taxes are collected. So right now, you actually make us whole for anyone who doesn't pay their taxes on time. This would now be reversed. We would make you whole. And so therefore, if we were to go forward, we would obviously, again, next year is a special schedule, we would keep your same schedule. We would make you whole in September. And the following years, when we would begin to collect taxes in that January to April schedule, we would make you whole by the end of June. Right, we would also assume all the debt delinquencies that you now have up to this point. And we would obviously bear all the costs for pursuing those delinquencies and those collections. We would obviously assume all the costs of the collection itself. So we believe that this is a potentially financially sound proposal that allows us to realign our entire county into one tax collection schedule. It also though provides an upfront payment, if you will, to the city so that you're made whole at the end of this process. A couple of months prior to where you would have been right now, in September, you get most of your taxes, you get all of your taxes. This would actually accelerate that and you get all of your taxes from June. All right, so you would obviously begin to be able to collect a higher level of interest because you have all the taxes in hand as of June, right? And you would have none of the costs of administration, nor would you have any of the costs of pursuing delinquencies. Now, we're here also to answer questions, but I also like to turn it to Andrea to ask her if there's anything she'd like to add.
I don't have anything to add, although I do kind of have an answer to your escrow question. The banks are used to having everything ready and prepared by January, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue for any escrow holders in the city, because this is something the banks are already used to doing.
They'll start preparing a year ahead, that's the purpose.
They're probably already prepared before it even comes out. I mean, they're probably prepared at the end of December, because that's their normal schedule.
I also like to add that part of changing over to the new schedule is the city preparing their budget by November, so that then we can prepare the tax bills in a timely fashion, so that should answer the question about escrow. Okay, we hope that it will. We plan to do a very comprehensive outreach to the public. And I think the mayor's worked very closely with us in reminding us how important it is to do that outreach through a variety of avenues, so that people are clear about the expectations for this year and then the changes for the year following. All right, and we hope to make this as seamless a process as possible for the residents. That's the key.
Okay, Kath, I understand what the advantages are to the city. What's the advantage to the county?
Well, a couple of things. We're able now to collect our taxes on the same schedule as the rest of the county. Right now, we collect our taxes on a January to May schedule. So we're able to get in and get all of our taxes in a timely fashion too, which obviously increases our interest profile as well. Okay, we're able to consolidate our administration, so it just makes it's just an easier, more efficient path for us.
Plus the interest are 2 months.
Yeah, right, the interest,
Right.
yeah,
But, and it makes sense for their constituency is ours, so
Mhm, yeah.
that was the idea of shared services, trying to make that work.
yeah.
Anybody else?
Anybody else, any other questions?
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
We're gonna call this vote after this, so thank you for sticking around. Agenda item number 1, authorizing an intermunicipal agreement between the county of Portland and the city of Portland for collection of real property taxes.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council authorizes Mayor Steve upon review and approval by the Corporation Council to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the county of Portland for real property tax collection.
I'll second.
Stillman, Spinello, any questions?
So, Mr. Lewis, we received the draft of this agreement today, correct?
That's correct.
So changes, we will get a copy. What kind of changes would not be acceptable if we were to vote upon the draft today? So if we're voting today on the draft, what potential changes could take place that we would not be aware of? Or would you bring us back the finalized copy?
I mean, if you heard the presentation last week, you heard the presentation tonight from the county. If anything substantially changed, we would certainly talk to you about it. But any more than when we do a road project or something like that, you approve the project, you don't approve the final contract that's entered into with the general contractor. So I mean, you're approving the general concept of moving forward with this and putting the council stamp behind it. Because as Ms. Bischoff mentioned, one of the things that we're gonna have to do over the coming months is there's a number of dates that are set in the city charter that talk about the date the mayor has to give you his budget, the date council has to adopt their budget. Those are gonna need to be amended to accommodate the new schedule. Additionally, sometime in the 90s, maybe 96, council made the election to continue collecting taxes. The governor at that point had put forward to basically move it countywide. The city of Portland elected out of that. Cities had the option to elect out. So we have to repeal that resolution that we adopted. I think it was in the 90s. I've got it on my desk downstairs, but I can't tell you the exact date, but it was a long time ago.
Anybody else? Okay, Logan, please.
I have a couple quick ones. So I haven't had a chance to finish reading the draft agreement yet. A couple things that popped out and I may be missing some context. It mentioned an audit for properties before they're assumed by the county, and the audit would be the city's responsibility. Is that correct?
That's actually a wonderful thing you pointed out, because that's one of the things we're negotiating on. I anticipate us being able to potentially get an agreement that instead of there being an audit, because trying to audit and find a negative is almost impossible. So instead of that, if somebody comes forward with proof, we would have a hold harmless language in the agreement that would say we will indemnify the county. If they've paid us for taxes that we claim are unpaid, then somebody were to come forward with proof, we would have to pay the county that.
And that was actually taken out the last meeting you were in court, we were at, and we did take care of that.
So I don't think the draft that you were given, because that was sent out before the meeting, we don't have a new draft.
I don't necessarily want housing on the first floor of Main Street. And a lot of these properties are on Main Street now.
Oh.
Really,
Well, South Main Street, I guess you could say, down that end, but nothing on in the historic.
nothing in the historic district. Okay, but there's some in Groton. And there's one on Clayton.
As you turn the corner, the property's behind that corner.
Okay.
And Groton in this, that whole corner, that whole road is been addressed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all. Once and done.
I'm so sorry to have said. Oh, right, sorry, I was misreading that, okay. All right. I'll take back objections. Thank
Probably
you.
upside down, man.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
So, last meeting I had pointed out the concern, there's automotive places, there's a nonprofit here that we didn't talk about. And my concern is whether or not the property owners know that these zoning changes are happening to their properties.
They do. I actually talked to all the owners.
Do we have anything in writing about that?
I talked to the owners person and addressed every one of them and said, did you get the letter? Do you have any questions? Do you understand what it means? We had a long in-depth conversation about it. And specifically, some of them that told places are even the funeral home, they none of them plan on going anywhere. They understand and they appreciated that value as being an asset to them. To be able to have that availability to be done. To be able to use it that way if they wanted to sell it that way, was more of a benefit to them. And all those cases are all stated about the. Anybody else? Thanks, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Nay.
Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Agenda item number 3, amend the 2026 adopted general fund budget.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 general fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table.
I'll move it.
No, okay, a second. Yes, Lane, any questions? Then move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon. Aye. Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Agenda item number 4, amend the 2026 adopted water fund budget.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 city water fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table.
Motion. Ms. Sullivan, Mr. Berger, any questions?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon. Aye. Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye. Agenda item number 5, amend the 2026 adopted sewer fund budget.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 city sewer fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table.
Mr. Conlon, Mr. Carter, question?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Agenda item number 6, authorized agreement for accounting and advisory services.
Resolved, the city of Portland Common Council does hereby amend the 2026 city general fund budget as recommended by the Director of Administration and Finance in the accompanying table. And be it further resolved that the Common Council shall be given monthly reports documenting progress and findings under the hereby authorized agreement.
I'll move it.
No.
Second.
So, I'm sorry. So, I just want to give the same kind of discussion with the people that were not in finance to do it. So, BST is a consultant firm, this is kind of the bailiwick, and that's what they like to do is go in and, fix problems that people have and then continue on with, consulting services that, outside of that, and basically, give you advice. So if you have a question, you're not sure where to appropriate something in a fund or try to deal with it, and once they get established, those policies and procedures, once they're established by them, and you're following them, you can reach out to them on the phone and they'll be able to help you to keep everything in that activity. So they have extensive municipal accounting backgrounds, and they are they came in and did an interview, no charge, met with all of our people and discussed what the generalized overview is, and by then they were able to do the initial scope. Ideas that have obviously will be refined as it goes along and as the priorities needed. I allocated $30,000 to Mr. Beckwith's point earlier, as if they aren't following through what we have to do, we can do it. Some of the items we had talked about, completion and filing AFR, that's actually gonna be done by the end of this week. By Monday, will be sent in, so some of that stuff will be already done, so that's not included in that. So that's where I came up with the $30,000, but we will continue to work with them and continue to have them give detailed reports of where each area where they are, and any personnel issues will be dealt with the personnel committee. That they find, that we will keep that out of that, but it'll be dealt with the personnel committee. So the personnel committee will get it, and then this whole board as a body will get these reports back from them, so we can talk about the progress, talk about the issues, painful or not, where the issues lie, what they're working on, and what the trajectory is to fix those specific issues, to try to make it as not as complicated as it is, so make it as simplified as it is, to try to make sense of it. So if any questions?
On page 3 of the handout, the timeline and goals. Looks like this could take above 30,000 fairly easily based on some of these figures and the estimated costs. Are we likely to see that?
I don't wanna say no, because I would anticipate there's a probability of that happening. However, it's hard for them to know how much, when they come in and do the initial assessment, get things going, it's how much we can help ourselves to work ourselves out of it. How much work we're going to do, and how many trips they have to make down to be able to get that clarification. So they're not really sure of the aptitude of our employees, and that's difficult for them to do. So they, wanted to go to, numbers that they really don't know. So they're trying to do that, but well, we'll know the progress on how we're making, and we'll be able to keep a good finger on it. If we don't think it's worth that other investment, where it needs to shift, I would think after that 30,000 is expended, we have a good handle on what needs to be done. Because their goal is to have, so we're up to date on 2026, so we turn the calendar year, we close 26 books, we can get all that done and get our audit done and get everything done properly. So that's the primary goal, and then outside of that, rolling into 27, what work needs to be done, we'll have to reevaluate that into next year, and hopefully have those answers before the budget is all complete.
And this will help us address the findings in the
Audit, yes.
in the audit, thank you.
Yes.
Do we have a sense of whether they're gonna come in and impose a new system on our people, or are they gonna evaluate what we're doing, see what's working, see what's not working, and just make it more efficient, tighten it up?
They're gonna streamline, they're gonna streamline all the, currently now we have numerous using spreadsheets to the AS400, so all to get everything into Munis. So there'll be policies, and Munis, there's many modules in Munis that were not, Munis was not programmed properly to begin with. So we'll go back and fix those issues to make sure Munis is accurate to what the documentation and how it should be, so that if you make a transaction here, it affects over here, and they're gonna clean up all those as well.
So ideally, it's gonna work better for the people who are working for us.
Yeah, it'll make it perfectly clear what everybody's roles and responsibilities should be.
Yeah,
And
and
it
it
should make it be easier for everybody else, including the next finance.
won't add to their burden. I mean, it'll be uncomfortable possibly to have people coming in and asking all these questions. But our goal as a council is to make things more streamlined and easier for them. Yeah,
Yeah, have accurate reporting and have accurate statements and documents so you can make the proper decisions.
yeah.
Is the goal still ideally to hire a finance director if possible this year? Okay,
And then if we do that, we get somebody sooner, then we're gonna have to make, we'll have to figure out that adjustment later too. But I think either way, whether they're here or not here, this should, this need to be done.
Yeah.
But the money was pulled from that position, knowing it's gonna be vacant for a little bit. If we fill it tomorrow, then we're gonna have to go back at it, come up with another way to fund it.
And this is a company that Chuck brought to us.
No,
Oh, no.
it's a company that, had made presentations at Nikon.
Okay,
They reached them out to.
but you're familiar with them.
I've never worked with them, but I've talked to them a lot since Scott brought them on board. And
Okay,
I mean, they seem like they're real quality people that wanna get this done.
I don't think we're gonna go backwards with it.
Anybody else?
So one of the questions that we talked about in the finance committee meeting, why there is not an RFP, why we're going with them, can you share that with everybody?
Just because it's professional services and this is a kind of a niche market, there's really nobody else I could find that covers it in this area. And the time,
Sure, it's tough to find somebody
time
else.
is sensitive. Really, I
Time is-
think, I really. That was the plan in 2025, honestly, was to make sure everything's right, make sure everything was, and the accounting procedures were done right. 2025, that never got reached, and I think the only way to push it out is get the extra horsepower. To get that direction and not try to split that process with a position and or workers that we already have here, that's difficult to do.
Guess the one concern, because we did talk, we didn't have the document until today, but the conversation last week was up to $30,000 and the estimated cost here. If it's going to go past that at some point, and the only question is when do we hit that 30,000?
we'll find out.
Yeah, we won't know until they tell us.
Right, I think what the plan is, the first $10,000 is for them to come in and understand what do they gotta do. At that point in time, we should have a better feel, or they should, for what it's gonna cost us, okay? What's the time period they got in there, the end of August? Okay, so I would think in the September time period, we should have a good number, what it's gonna take to take us out through the end of the year to do it.
And we're gonna fund it till they get there.
And I think at that point, council and the mayor can make a decision, is this gonna work, what do we need to do? But at least to get to that point, for a month of August, you're spending 10,000 of that 30,000 to understand what the issues are.
So. Items, let's see. The September to October. 50 to 75 and 15 to 25.
this would potentially be at the top of a director of administration of finance if we could find them.
That's correct.
So my concern here is we are establishing a potentially long-standing relationship with this company that's going to expend a lot of the city's money at a time when we're already facing difficulties. I would be a lot more comfortable with this if the finance committee had a chance to speak with at least a representative with BST about this agenda.
Could we? Do we have to agree to the whole thing right away, or could they come in and do their initial assessment and then talk to us?
Again, yeah, that's what Chuck just explained. We're putting $30,000 towards it. They can get in and understand it, but while they're here understanding, we can make immediate process changes. They're gonna start on this. They're gonna, but that's part of that, doing that, but we have $30,000 up to do that. Then once we get that fully evaluated, we bring it back. And then decide what we're gonna do, how much further.
This is not gonna happen before the next meeting anyway, right?
That's why, I give enough time, so. The end of August is what their timeline is. But the longer we wait, the longer it's gonna be.
So by September first meeting, we should know where we gotta go, so we need to put the kibosh on it now, or
The way it is.
then, or. That's what I'm taking.
Right, we just don't wanna be locked into a
Right.
contract that says.
$1 million and we got nothing.
We're allocating $30,000 towards it, I'll adjust that, and adjust it
Yeah.
from there, we'll be able to get some.
And we
more
reevaluate.
It was made very clear to them that they have $30,000 to spend until more is approved.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's what.
They
I took
clearly
it.
understand government, and Randall was on the phone when I told him, I said, you know, we're gonna come to council and ask for 30,000, to do the 10,000, give us $20,000 to. see what-
Implement some.
Yes,
Okay,
and it's not gonna be any more than 30,000 unless everybody here approves it and hears from them.
beautiful. Thank you for all of that, assurance.
And it's good that we're going to continue to look for a director of admin and finance, because these priorities, are looking at internally what the department, the current employees do, and how they're interacting with the software. And then the reconciliations from 24 to 25 and 25 to 26. But it's not directing or moving things forward in terms of this is taking the numbers and making them work from one year to the next. Well, I agree that we need to continue to
Yeah.
seek somebody to be the director of administration and science.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
No.
Councilmember Carpenter.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
We'll record his vote when he gets back. Agenda item number 7, confirm appointment of Jessica Smith to the Portland Housing Authority Board.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council, recognizing the particularized circumstance of this appointment and without prejudice to future residency requirements, hereby confirms the appointment of Jessica Smith to the Portland Housing Authority Board for the remainder of the term ending December 31st, 2030.
Ms. Lane. So I just want to clarify, under the circumstances, so the Portland Housing Authority was established in the city of Portland, so according to their state requirements, they're supposed to. We want residents from the city to be there, so if we do have an issue within their housing. Within the housing district, we can address that with those local residents would know about it and do all that. They also have housing in Homer and some of the other places, so I don't think it's out of stretch to be them to have input too. But we just don't want to set that precedent, so the majority is outside of where we have the majority of the high rise next door. So but they are having trouble seeking applicants from the city itself. They feel that Ms. Smith would be a great addition to their board, so we respect their wishes and we put this forward to council, but I want to make sure it's clear on that. Okay. So, Mr. Beckwith, can I get your vote on number 6?
Aye.
So now we are calling the vote for item number 7, or item number 7, from appointment to Jessica Smith. Mr. Lewis.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Agenda item number 8, approve special event permits for the Pumpkin Fest on October 3rd and 4th, 2026.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby approve the issuance of permits as described below. The Great Pumpkin Fest, October 3rd and 4th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in Courthouse Park. Special event, sound device, operating, mobile food vendor permits to be issued without fee. Street closures, Central Avenue and Greenbush Street.
So moved.
So, back with, any questions?
Which number is this?
I do not know the answer.
It's been a lot, so.
I'll be 30, I'm gonna say 30.
Closer to it, 28.
There was at the county, so it's, great event. I'm not looking forward to it coming because I'm supposed to, but I don't know. Move it.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Agenda item number 9, approve special event permits for Planet Lean Nation Fitness pop-up event, July 26, 2026, in Main Street parking lot.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby approve the issuance of permits as described below. Fitness pop-up, August 26, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the Main Street parking lot. Permit to be issued special event with a sound device with $25 fee.
Just please note before you get supposed to move it, the date is July 2026, or July 26th, it's in the agenda item. Wow, this site at the bottom, so this is July 26th. July 26th, so it's.
Mayor, is it Planet Lean Nation or is it Project Lean Nation?
No, it's plain.
Is it? Are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Project.
Just private.
Planet Fitness. or Project.
Planet Fitness.
You know what I'm on. So just want to clarify, Project Lean Nation, it's right next to the business. Mr. Beckwith, you want a second?
Second,
Okay, so thank you. Any questions?
will there be samples?
Louis.
You might have to do some push-ups and some jumping jacks. And you're on your own.
So the event, it's more fitness oriented, it's not I mean, it would hopefully boost sales for them, but it's not a sales event, correct?
I would assume it's a fitness pop-up, meaning they'll probably have gear there, fitness gear, those kind of things. Those kind of items there, as well as programs probably. Well,
And they are paying.
yes, they're.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Agenda item number 10, approved sound device permit for use at October 10th, 2026.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council hereby approves and authorizes the issuance of a sound device permit with a fee of $25 to the Portland County Republican Committee for use at 46 Greenbush Street on October 10th, 2026, between the hours of noon and 6 p.m. pursuant to section 193 of the City Administrative Code.
Action. Alan, Mr. Carpenter, any questions?
What are they doing?
From what I understand is. I'm not sure we're like. A road, not I say road rally, it's not that good. Like they come from other counties and they drive it and they do a speech and then they drive to the next county and.
Well,
So suit the gubernatorial candidates and I think it's something to be.
okay. Okay. Will there be a dunk tank with Democrats in it?
Sounds like you're up for it, Katie.
Again, I think it's just, everybody stand around, they make a statement and then they leave. I don't think it's.
Okay.
It's not really an event, but the sound device is the issue.
So the address is 46 Greenbush, that is the county courthouse, correct?
Correct.
Is it
I thought it was 56.
I don't know, I put it on my Google Maps and it came up. So is this for the courthouse park or is this for the courthouse?
I don't think it's inside the building, I think. it's
Right.
that.
Maybe on the
Steps, that's what. I
Pictures.
assume.
Yeah.
What kind of,
56 is the jail, right?
I mean,
54. I'm all confused now then.
so what kind of legal? I mean, does the county need to weigh in? It's the county property. I actually texted my legislator, I believe yesterday, I hadn't heard back, but my concern is that it's a county property. Have they
It's
weighed in?
public space, it's public use space, you can't stop it, we're using that, but the sound device permit is the only thing we're permitting.
Yeah, we're not issuing a special event permit for them to use the county's property. We're issuing a permit for them to use a sound device in the
At
city. of
that
Portland.
location.
Okay,
On their property,
but that's their
but
issue.
they don't own the property.
Just like we would issue a sound device if you wanted to have a band in your backyard. So
But it would be
has
my
nothing,
property.
and it's the county's property, so it's up to the
Yeah.
county whether or not they want to let them use it. That has nothing to do with us.
So they have to
So
take
the sound
that
person.
to the property, to the county, he's saying.
And if the county requires them to have a permit or something to use their portion of the courthouse park,
They had?
I have no idea if they
None of our
have.
business. We don't need to know that.
Giving them the sound permit.
That's all we're being asked to do.
Yeah,
That's all we're doing.
And I would assume that they talked, but then we get the specific details of
we
if there's
agree.
any steps or whether, what the.
Nothing against the party, but it is a Republican thing.
Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Nay.
Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Agenda item number 11, authorize the. Pollution, is that how I say it? Obsolete civil service positions.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council hereby authorizes the abolition of the civil service positions identified in the table below and authorizes the mayor and the appropriate city officials to complete all necessary filings and notifications required to implement the abolition of such positions.
I'll move it.
So doing, as we talked when we did the contract for CSEA, that some of these positions titles had changed, so we need to do these so that they're all filed with, civil service to be as such.
What's that word mean?
Questions? Okay, order please.
Oh, okay. I think that's, yeah.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter, Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Okay, so we just wanted to talk about this, murals in the historic districts. We should really talk about doing a mural citywide, discussion as well. Maybe follow some of the same formatting. So we have some kind of requirements, but this is what the Historic Commission has brought back as a draft. Mural policy, from the Historic Commission, what they would like to see, as you know, they'll do thorough research there. And how the appeals process and everything would work. So we want to put that on for August 4th meeting, so we want to try to get that in front of everybody. So if they can run into any questions or anything ahead of time.
Just real quick, Steph, should we add something else in here other than the non-historic district?
I think we should look at something overall total.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, historic's important,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
certainly don't want to.
But I think we look at these as guidelines and then decide from here, we want to see something different. We want to, well, I think the girls can be great. We've had some
Yeah.
beautiful ones like on the Hollywood and on the other side of the bank.
Yeah.
But I think, well, we should get some control because it did not be the same. I think that's nice. And I guess arts in the eyes of the hopefully. We should come up with better policy.
Different conversation with it.
But I just want to make sure we have that conversation, get that out there with everybody.
Yep.
And then the next thing is, we're gonna need to go in executive session to update on litigation. There will be no action afterwards, so the media can stay or they won't stay. You can stay, make sure they enter in who comes and comes back. It's my granddaughter's birthday. I'm gonna speak out. So back with you folks for me. I know what he's gonna say, so if there's anything else, he can bring it back to me. That's okay.
The discussion item, do we still have a public art commission?
We do. We
Have they
did
weighed
talk-
in? Can they weigh in?
I did talk to them about that. We did talk about doing that as part of their process as well. And then going through the historic commission too, so
And we would have a public, we would have a public hearing at the August 4th meeting.
for that, for this, for the historic. Well, for the other one, that was the art commission, we would follow through with that, so.
We need a motion to go into that.
I need a motion when you get a good session. And make sure you get that. Mr. Collins and Mr. Beckwith, motion to go in executive session.
Yeah.
Can you just record it? You put this on my desk phone.
Do I end this?
You can just leave it.
Like, it doesn't need to be muted or anything? They can hear what you're
You
saying?
can mute it. They're going in there.
Oh.
Just make sure you.
Andrea,
What is that?
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
very
We
good.
have, we have five.
Right now.
Need a motion,
I'll motion on.
second,
I'll second.
motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight's council.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Second.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
I'm set, thank you.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Well, I'm taking off. Everybody have a good night. Take care.